All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with consistency. Welcome back to the second episode in a week.
In a week.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
hasn't been a month this year. Crazy. So, anyways, yeah, welcome back to the Microphone Club. My name's Nick. That's Malachi.
Yep.
This is a podcast where we talk about hip hop and music that we like and shit. So yeah. Today we got a pretty good
Pretty
episode
eventful.
lined up
Yeah.
for you. There's been a lot of stuff, a lot of news, and just some stuff we want to talk about. So we're gonna get the news out of the way first. That's usually how we structure these. Just talk about the news, get that over with. But the biggest thing this
hmm
week was the Grammy nominations. Obviously,
Yeah.
some stuff, some drama went down with my boy The Weeknd, my boy Abel. We go way back. He's from Canada. We're from Canada. Kinda ends there. But anyway, yeah. So there was some drama there. Malachi's dog, popping off. You know what it is. You know what it be. But yeah. Anyway, what was I gonna say? So yeah, The Weeknd did not get any Grammy nominations at all, and he had one of the best selling albums this year, and I think the best selling single this year, Blinding Lights. It's still in the top 10 for
Yeah.
the Billboard, and no recognition of the Grammys. Personally,
Zero nominations.
Personally, I think the Grammys are whack as fuck. I think they're stupid.
Yeah.
And the problem is, Grammys add prestige to yourself as an artist. But realistically, as Kanye showed, piss on a Grammy, bro. Who gives a fuck? But yeah, so yeah, what they're saying is, The Weeknd declined to perform at the Grammys because he was gonna perform the Super Bowl. The Grammys were like,
Mhm.
"Hey yo, fuck you," and they just didn't
But
give
I
him
think I
any
think at
nominations.
some point, like I think it's also like a the Grammys look at it from like a business sort of mindset, which is why they didn't, because like the Weeknd wasn't gonna perform it for them, and and because he wants to perform a Super Bowl instead, where he's probably gonna make more money, I would assume. It's all like with just how like um popular Super Bowl is, and also like the lack of money they were able to make because people couldn't tour this year, and it was a rough year for artists, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we got some great music, it's
Especially
been a
smaller
very rough
artists.
year. Yeah,
That is
obviously the
true.
Weeknd's huge, and he would have made so much money if he got to tour this year after dropping an amazing album.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's what it comes down to. I guess there is a lot of money involved too. It shouldn't be as, I mean, it's always going to be like at the forefront of um, like award shows and stuff like that. It's going to be at the forefront of their mind. But at the end of the day, we should also still get to recognize when the art is actually good. And the fact that he got zero nominations is just, to me, just mind blowing.
Yeah, I also think that the Grammys, as we've seen many times, is you can tell what
Mm-hmm.
type of people are gonna win. And it's also the nominations and the awards seem to be pretty biased. And when you're talking about the Grammys, it shouldn't be biased at all. It should just be based on who's the best, not based on opinion. I mean, obviously it's kind of based on opinion, but we're looking at like the general opinion. And
Yeah.
everyone believes The Weeknd put out one of the best albums of the year, the best selling single of the year. But yeah, so it's kind of stupid. But anyways, since the Grammy nominations are out, me and Malachi decided we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do our own little like awards kind of show with the Grammys and all like the rap categories that we know. Cause I'm not trying to like I haven't listened to Taylor Swift's album or Ariana Grande's album, so I don't
I
know
did
if I
listen
have.
to Ariana Grande, and it was actually very, very good.
I heard it was very good as well, but I just I
Yeah.
haven't gotten around to it. But anyway, yeah, Malachi. So get to those nominations, get to those categories, and we'll give our predictions. Talk about nominations themselves, what we know about them,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this will be for obviously the music that we're more familiar with and probably listen to. We start with best rap album. I can pull that up here. Best rap album. So we had Black Habits by D Smoke,
Mhm.
Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist, A Written Testimony by Jay Electronica, King's Disease by Nas, and The Allegory by Royce the 5'9". I personally, I would love to see Freddie Gibbs win that. for a lot of reasons. I mean, I actually listened to the album. It's a great album. Um, I think The Alchemist would start to get some recognition because he's an amazing producer that I think deserves more recognition from a more mainstream standpoint. I believe because he's phenomenal. I feel like Nas would win this though, just because I mean he's had like 14 or something nominations and hasn't won a thing.
It'd be kind of crazy if he wins off this album instead of like Illmatic and all the other great albums he's put out. Personally, I haven't listened to Freddie Gibbs' album yet. I'm gonna get around to it because everyone says it's really good. I did listen to Nas's album like when it came out. I thought it was all right. Nas is always gonna do his thing. Like I don't expect anything terrible from him ever, so it's pretty good. Royce da 5'9". I haven't heard much of his music, but I've listened to some of features that he's had. Yeah, Jay Electronica. I like his style. He's pretty good, but I really do think Freddie Gibbs could take this. I mean, that album sounds like it has like the most notoriety and recognition. I'm pretty sure it did okay in sales too. Did pretty well.
I think it was like 30 something first week, 30 something, which for an album like that is pretty good to decent, I guess.
I've also
it'll be interesting.
I think it aged pretty well, right? Like as it went on, I think like more people listen to it because I feel like a lot of the mainstream rap fans or hip hop fans haven't really listened to it. But then when you see like Instagram pages talking about and all that stuff, you know, it makes you want to listen to that kind of album. But yeah, I could definitely see Freddie Gibbs taking it personally.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you go back to like summer when him and Academics going back and forth over numbers and stuff, and I think it's interesting to see him getting a Grammy nomination after getting clowned for being irrelevant by Academics. And if he wins, it'll just be even funnier.
Academics is a fucking clown though.
Yeah, we've established that already.
Yeah. What else we got?
So we have best rap song. So we have The Bigger Picture by Lil Baby, The Box by Roddy Ricch, Laugh Now, Cry Later by Drake featuring Lil Durk, Rockstar by DaBaby featuring Roddy Ricch, and Savage by Megan Thee Stallion featuring Beyonce. I think this was this the remix? I think this is the remix.
Yeah. Version. Okay, I think The Bigger Picture should win, just because of its influence and what the song entailed.
The impact.
Yeah, the impact, and also, I think Savage is gonna win. I could definitely see Savage winning.
I would actually love to see Roddy Ricch win this award because I think honestly he deserves it. He kind of started off 2020 with a bang. To be real, like
really
within like just I think he's been very impactful for 2020. Like out of like up and coming artists. I would love to see him win that. I just think it would, be good for him to see someone, young and really. I think in the next few years he's gonna be very relevant in hip hop and sort of be more of an influence to the next generation after him.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do see Savage winning this.
Yeah, I think Savage is gonna win too.
I feel like Savage would win this.
Even though
The Laugh Now Cry Later was a great song too. I don't see it winning this.
The thing is, you can never count out Drake. Like it's Drake, right? So you never really know.
That's true.
But I definitely could see Savage winning this. Just Megan Thee Stallion and who was it again?
Beyonce. It was a Savage remix, so it was her and Beyonce.
Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. I could definitely see that winning. But yeah, The Box was one of my favorite songs this year. I really thought it was good. Bigger Picture, I think is amazing. I just don't see it winning. But yeah.
Yeah.
Rockstar is also a good song. I'm not the biggest DaBaby fan, but everyone's heard these songs because it's nominated for best song. But I do think Savage is gonna win.
Yeah. So now next up we have best melodic rap performance. So again we have Rockstar by DaBaby and Roddy Ricch. Again, Laugh Now Cry Later by Drake featuring Lil Durk. Then we have Lockdown by Anderson .Paak. And then again The Box with Roddy Ricch. But then we have Highest in the Room by Travis Scott.
So Highest in the Room came out in October 2019, and we are in November 2020. I don't know, but okay. But I could see Rockstar taking this one. If they're not gonna get best song, I feel like Roddy Ricch is gonna get this one, whether it be Rockstar or The Box. The Anderson .Paak song I haven't heard. I think you can speak on that.
I liked it. It's a good song. Yeah, it's a good song. It's nothing crazy though. I don't see it winning, but it's a good song though.
Laugh Now, Cry Later, also very good. The only reason I don't see Travis Scott winning is because the song came out so long ago.
Yeah, I wish I don't like we were just talking about this. Like, the Grammys should make the window a fully. I don't know why. Maybe there's a reason why they do it like that, but wouldn't it make sense to do the full year as the window, and then
the song came out over 12 months ago. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how it's nominated, but yeah, Highest in the Room is one of my most listened to Spotify songs, but I don't see it winning just because first of all, it came out so long, and it didn't sell as well as things like The Box or Laugh Now Cry Later or Rockstar. I think you can count out Anderson .Paak in this one. No offense to him, but I just don't see him beating like a Travis Scott or a Roddy Ricch or a Drake. But yeah, I think I'll give this one to one of the Roddy Ricch songs. I'll just pick Rockstar. Sure, Rockstar.
I'll go with The Box.
Yeah.
So now we have Best Rap Performance. This one's interesting. So we have Deep Reverence by Big Sean featuring Nipsey Hussle.
Mm-hmm.
We have Bop by DaBaby. What's Poppin' by Jack Harlow. The Bigger Picture by Lil Baby. And Savage by Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. And then Dior by Pop Smoke.
Okay, Pop Smoke's not going to win.
Well, Best Rap Performance. This one's interesting because I think this is more of a toss-up than
when they say
other
performance,
categories.
what do they mean?
So performance, that has to do with, because I'm pretty sure these songs all have like some like a media sort of attached, like whether it be a video or some sort of like visual attached to it, and then the performance is it also has to do some like the time when the song came out. Like it's hard to explain what performance really means, but that's mainly what it has to do with, like singles. Usually they're like singles and they do they're referencing like performance.
Fuck it, I'll go with what is Roddy Ricch in this one too or no?
No, he is not.
Okay, fuck it, I'll take Big Sean and Nipsey.
I mean it's nice to see them getting nominated there, but I'm gonna say I think Lil Baby might win this one.
The Bigger Picture
for best rapper. Yeah, I think it's nominated.
Oh yeah, no, never mind. I changed mine. Lil Baby's up. They're gonna give him one of them. They're gonna give him one of them.
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously he didn't get nominated for best rap album,
which is weird.
And I think the impact from this single with he released a song during with the crisis that would happen in Minnesota and everything that happened in.
And just what he kind of talked about, like he laid it out like from his perspective, and like the reasons this happens and what he says and why he says it. I thought that was important to the impact on the hip hop universe as well as just the world itself. Just what he said, which we talked about in another episode. But I think
the impact is great.
That's a Grammy worthy song. I think
100%.
Yeah.
But it is a bit hard to explain what best performance is, but that's basically like the gist of it. But
I'm surprised Pop Smoke was nominated. Dior is a pretty old song. If we're being
how old?
Actually, it would have been in the window, but it's relatively old. It came out well before. It was on his first mixtape.
Oh, his first mixtape?
Yeah, Meet the Woo 1. I think it's on there. It's on all his albums. They just stick it on there. But I don't know. I don't see Pop Smoke winning. But yeah, I could definitely see Lil Baby taking that one home for sure.
Well, that's all for the rap categories, I believe. We covered best rap song, best melodic rap performance, best rap performance. So that's all for rap. R&B. I mean, I haven't really listened to these albums. But a shout out to these artists. I mean, they're great artists.
But yeah, all right. So discussing the Grammys. I was going through TikTok, and one of the questions that I've seen is just before this. Put in the comments or just let us know who you think is gonna win in in the categories we discussed. I'm curious.
Mhm.
I feel like your opinions wouldn't be much different from ours. But yeah, just let us know. But yeah, I saw on TikTok it was like, at what point did you realize the Grammys was a sham? Um, I think the main one people use is Macklemore beating out Kendrick, which made no sense. And then
That was, I think, 2013.
that was for Good Kid, Mad City, right? I think.
That was okay. So, because I don't know when Good Commander it dropped 2012. I don't know if so, but I'm pretty sure it was 2013 Grammys.
Yeah.
But,
And then
yeah,
I remember Macklemore texting Kendrick and was like, "Bro, I should not have won that album. Yours is way better than mine," which just says a lot. But
yeah,
also the other big time is when somehow Cardi B beat Mac Miller, Travis Scott, and Pusha T for best album
and
of the year.
Nipsey Hussle and
Yeah.
Nipsey Hussle.
That shit made zero sense.
Yeah,
Right when I saw it, I was like, okay. You could argue all those albums except for Cardi B's. Personally,
yeah,
I think Astro World, just how it aged. I mean, obviously you don't know how it aged back then, but just the content is like, I don't know. And Pusha T's Daytona is one of like the most talked about albums even today, just for what
Mhm.
kind of impact it had on the world, on the hip hop universe at the time. But yeah, the Grammys are fucking whack. Just to sum this segment up, they're pretty bullshit. Obviously, if you win one, it means a lot as an artist, because like, you know, when you're becoming an artist, winning a Grammy is like the pinnacle like award. But I think people are starting to realize that it's a sham, just like the Weeknd tweeted. They're it's pretty slimy. But yeah,
and I think the Weeknd sort of stepping up and saying that, like, obviously, like, he deserved to win a Grammy. Like, at least he even deserved to win. Like,
nah,
let
bro,
alone
he
win.
should
He
have
deserved
got
a nomination.
He could have got one.
Like,
too,
let alone
yeah.
He 100%. Even if he didn't win any, he deserved at least one nomination. That's like what bothers me the most.
The Weeknd could have got best album, not even rap album, just best album of the year. But he didn't even get like, he's not really a rapper.
He didn't even get the R&B.
Yeah, like he's not really a rapper, but like y'all, you know what I mean. It's kind of stupid. Anyway, one thing we wanted to talk about was, so yesterday a bunch of new music released. So I don't really listen to it all because Lil Wayne dropped another mixtape, and honestly, bro, I swear Lil Wayne drops every 6 months something, and at some point I'm like, Lil Wayne, bro, you're a legend, but man, you don't need to keep dropping every 6 months, my G. But I didn't get around to it yet, if I'm being honest with you. The only thing I listened to was the Juicy J album, and I'm sorry, Juicy J, bro, you're usually good. That album was not very good. I found it very boring and stale. You know I'm a big Logic fan. Logic's both of Logic's features were kind of just there. He had a song with 2 Chainz and Lil Baby. Even that song wasn't good. But yeah, that one wasn't like terrible. It was just kind of boring. It was mid as they say.
What do you think it'll grow on you?
No, I'm not gonna listen to it again. I don't plan to listen to it again. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the Juicy J album. Another huge thing in the news is the Playboy Carti is making waves again for his album A Whole Lot of Red, which yeah. he had a feature.
We saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, he had a feature that came out with on the new on the Lobo 3 Deluxe with him, Lil Yachty and Future, which I also didn't listen to. Bro, music dropping at 12 a.m. is dumb because I'm tired, bro. Like, I'm not trying to sit through an album. But yeah, maybe Playboy Carti will drop an album. That album has had so much hype around it. I think it's literally impossible for anybody to live up to that kind of hype. But yeah,
I agree. I mean, the only last person to do it, like, to live up to that kind of hype, was Travis Scott. But I don't think, I mean, just personally, I don't think Playboy Carti will live up to the same hype. He's just not the same type of artist.
No.
I don't think he's capable of doing that, to be honest. But
I mean, like,
it'll be interesting to see what he does with the album.
I also don't like Playboy Carti's style. I'm not gonna I know I've gone on saying that like he's ass. I just don't. I don't like his style at all. It doesn't suit me. I wouldn't listen to it on my own time. But yeah.
I think he makes more, like, for me personally, like, definitely a better feature artist as opposed to
I can agree with that. I can
full
agree
track
with
of his. Like,
I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah. he just suits features more than he does like on a full track of him.
The problem with that is I can agree with that because I don't want to hear him for a whole song.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I get kind of bored or just like tired of like him doing the same, but like it kind of works on features sometimes.
Yeah, on
So
features he can
it just
handle his
depends.
own. We saw that on
Yeah,
Earthquake, especially.
yeah,
Like that was like
like
perfect Playboy Cardi for me. I don't know why.
mhm.
I really liked his feature on Earthquake. But yeah, honestly, when we do the podcast from week to week, there's not really gonna be much like big news coming out. So like when we like don't do it for a month, obviously there's fucking a month worth of news. But now there's been a week.
Yeah.
Aside from that, there hasn't been really anything big. But there's just some other discuss we wanted to talk about. Malachi, I'll let you discuss this first. So we wanted to talk about how artists can shape you or like music can shape you as a person
Mhm.
from what you listen from what your parents play in the car while you're driving places before you like listen to stuff what your parents play in the house before you like venture out to playing your own stuff because growing
Yeah.
up my parents always were into like hip hop and rap like 90s 80s hip hop that was always playing in the house music and things like that so I'm just curious as to like how like the music your parents shaped you how you got into
Mhm.
the artists you listen to now, and how they have helped you as you grow up.
Well, I mean, I also like were you a big part to like my music taste sort of like you put me onto Logic back in like 2018 it was
Yeah, something like that.
2018 and that sort of shaped definitely what I listened to. I mean, obviously it's changed a lot,
Hmm.
but
I
shaped
mean, one artist
definitely
leads to
that's
another, right?
yeah, that's where I started my hip hop interests way back
Yep.
in 2018, and because you put me on. But when I was uh, like way younger, um, my dad would play a lot of Prince. Like he
Hmm.
loved Prince. Obviously Michael Jackson, loved Michael Jackson. Um, there was a bunch of few other old scores that I never really like became familiar with myself, but they was always playing. I think Busta Rhymes was one
Hmm.
for sure. Busta Rhymes for sure. A lot of reggae music as well. It's kind of what I grew up on.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of Bob Marley. It's
And
kind
like,
of most of what
do
I
you
grew
ever
up
find
on.
yourself like vibing to those songs now? Because I think, like,
Not really, but but it's just more of a nostalgic feeling. Like
yeah,
whenever I go back to that, it's like comforting because
yeah.
I that's what I experienced
That's what
with listening
nostalgia
when I was
does,
younger.
right?
Yeah.
That's what it's based on. But I think one thing I also wanted to add is I feel like when you grow up with music in the household, it can kind of shape like how you act and your mannerisms as that kind of thing as well. I think also
Mhm.
what you listen to back then can influence what you listen to today. Because my parents always had Biggie was playing Mary J. Blige,
Mhm.
all the popular artists from back then. Outkast was always on. Three Stacks, obviously. Big Boy, all those guys were always playing. We also had like the Akons, the old Kanye West.
Oh yeah,
Kid,
Akon. I can't.
yeah,
Akon was someone I used to bump a lot back when I was younger.
Kanye West, Akon, Kid Cudi, uh,
Mhm.
all those guys. One more I'm forgetting. Chris Brown was even playing back then. Like a bunch of
Mhm.
people like that.
I used to love Maroon Five when
Maroon
I was
Five
back in
is a
middle
class.
school. I loved Maroon Five. Yeah.
Ludacris was always playing too. Ludacris was pretty big. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I really what this segment is just going on like our musical listening history as we've
Yeah.
grown up because um so I a lot of that old stuff was I never I never really took to it at the time, but now when I like think about it and like it's really like I realize how important it was to the kind of music I like now. Because
Mhm.
as I obviously from like um freaking kindergarten to like grade 5, that's kind of a blur what I'm listening to. It's like Minecraft parodies and shit like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna sit here and be like I was listening to bangers back then. Grade 6, I actually listened to a lot of like electronic and like dubstep music. Um, I think that shit is cringy now, but in grade 6, that's what I listened to. Grade 7 was when I really got into hip hop and rap. Um, I think for a lot of people, what I've noticed is Logic put a few people into hip hop, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But he was the first one I listened to. I was heavy into him. I obviously I told Malachi about him, And then back then, I obviously listened to a lot of mainstream artists, like the Drakes, those guys. But
Mhm.
yeah, for me personally, I think when we listen, like music is always playing for a lot of different reasons, right? You're walking to
Yeah.
school, you're doing your work, you're walking home, you're just chilling in your house, you're playing video games. Like music's always playing, I think, and it's important. Like when you're hearing the words and all that stuff, like it influences how you act, and
Mhm.
like I think when you really listen to what an artist says, and if it's like not profound, but like it's not like trap, money bitches and like drugs and shit, and you can actually
It's
like
more conscious, you mean?
yeah, conscious rap kind of thing. It can really change your views on the world. Um,
One hundred
because
percent.
because the way recently, as I said, I listened to uh Kendrick and Cole's entire discography, which I hadn't done before, and I think it really opened my eyes to. I'm not trying to sound stereotypical, but like what truly Kendrick and Cole, like what they lived,
Hmm.
and like I'm not saying I can like measure with them in any way, but it's really interesting to see like how that can change, give me a deeper look into what it's really like in like the hood or in like a more low income area. I think, and
Yeah.
I think it's important for everybody to realize that not everybody is living the life you live in terms of wealthiness and just healthiness, like even like mental
Yeah.
health and stuff like that. I think it's very important. But yeah, so I listened to a lot of Logic, and then in grade I listened to a lot of Eminem as well.
Oh yeah.
Ton of Eminem up until grade 10, and then I started listening to Travis around grade 10 or 11 when I really like picked up into like trap, all those guys. So now um I'm glad that I listened to both because I like having the mix. And now I'm trying to get more into like the indie lyrical rap kind of thing. Not more into it, but I just want to expand my taste. Like, I want to listen to like the Frank Oceans. I want to listen to the Tylers.
Mhm.
Obviously the Coles and the Kendricks. Like, I also want to get into like more artists that you listen to, like the Earls, like the Absols, the Anderson Packs, the
Mhm.
guys like those. Because I feel like they've been having a bigger impact and being shown in more light lately.
Yeah, much bigger impact. That's because they're not. I mean, like they're considered mainstream artists because mainstream is not about radio play anymore. Because
Yeah.
mainstream is about social media, like not well, not, I won't say social media, but media, like
Mhm.
YouTube, uh, Spotify, it's streaming. So, like everything's like no one. Like people don't really listen to the radio like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's everything's more like streaming services and stuff like that.
Everyone's playing their
But
own music now, like
yeah,
music's on demand now. You're not playing the
yeah,
radio because nobody wants to hear songs that they don't want to hear anymore. So
yeah, and a lot of the artists I listen to, um, are very retrospective and give like a different sort of outlook on the world. Especially Absol, he has, I think, Control System, which is an album that basically talks about the government. Like, I don't want to say the government. That's not. It's kind of vague description, but he kind of, if you listen to the album, like a lot of stuff he talked about, kind of like unraveled in today's society. He talked about a lot of stuff that it's way ahead of its time. What I'm trying to say,
hmm
and I think artists being able to be comfortable with showing their emotions on tracks and being able to sort of almost like, even if we can't relate to what they're feeling, if some when they the way they pour their emotion into certain tracks, we almost like understand what they're feeling without ever actually experiencing it. And I think that's like a skill that a lot of artists, not that they lack, but a lot of artists don't have. And I think it's underrated, like a very underrated skill to be able to do that and have someone understand what you're going through without them ever having to experience something like that.
I can 100% agree with that. I think that also falls into the category of supply and demand in the music industry today. As we kind of touched on this last week, a lot of people want artists to innovate, change their style, do all this stuff, and then when an artist tries to do it, they say, "Oh, that's shit." Like,
Yeah.
it's whenever you try something new, you're not good at it, right? I'm sure this episode of our podcast is better than the first one, and I'm sure the episode 20 episodes from now will be better than this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just about improvements. You gotta let your artist grow, and do what they want to do if they want to change. Because a lot of artists get trapped into going back to how they were. Like we're seeing this with Lil Uzi currently. Like everybody's like, oh, you gotta be like you were in 2016, and then like if he tries to recreate that, I guarantee it'll be bad because that's just not who he's not who he was 4 years ago. His his
Yeah.
he's learned so much more. He's gained so much more knowledge. He's grown as an artist. When you try to recreate that, it's hard.
but I think it's also like people say, "Oh, I want old Uzi." Well, go listen to old Uzi. Like it's never gonna go away. He's not
Yeah,
gonna
it's
take
right
it off
there.
unless
It's
he
right
does.
there.
But
It's right
if
there.
I want 2017 Uzi. Okay, go listen to 2017 Uzi. It's
Yeah.
still available. Or I want old Tyler, like back in like 2010. Okay, go listen. His music is still there.
Yeah,
Whether it
it
be
never went.
on
You have to
Spotify,
accept
YouTube.
you have to accept that artists are gonna grow and maybe they'll get better. You know, with growth and more knowledge and more experience
Yeah.
comes better music. If you're forcing an artist to live in the past, you're first of all you're gonna say their music's gonna get stale and get mad at them, and then when they grow, you're gonna get mad at them for changing it up and not being as good as what they were. Because
Yeah.
when we're forcing artists to become complacent and then not letting them grow when they want to, is I think that's the real problem with hip hop today.
Mm-hmm.
People are so critical, and I understand being critical. You know, it's music you're listening to all the time. Especially in today, we have access to so much different kind of assets to make our music better or their music better. And then when an artist puts out something shit, obviously if it's shit, you know, I think you can say it's shit when they've done better things. Is my thing. But yeah, if they're trying to change up their style, you sometimes you just gotta let them. I think.
I think so too, and I think we don't appreciate one thing we don't appreciate enough is when artists have like many albums that are so different from each other.
Yeah.
We don't. I don't think that gets enough appreciation.
And they're good at it, right?
Yeah. Like when they're all different and they're all good. That does not get appreciated enough.
I feel like X did that pretty well.
Yeah.
And then he died, which is unfortunate. Because.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm trying to think. Like Travis does it pretty well. I think you can. You can kind of see how they're similar. But you can also see how they're very different. Which is why I think that's one of the main reasons I got into it, because when there's an artist that can fit your mood, I think that's another thing with music is we can use music as an outlet for when we're happy, when we're sad, when we're angry, and when we're like, you know, when we're amped, when we're on adrenaline, and it can elevate that and it can help us through it. All right, so we're back after a little break. Malachi told off his dog, but yeah, I was just saying like when we look at these kind of like sad or depressing or like emotional albums from like an outside point of view, we can really see how good they are. Like X's album, while sad, I think it's actually just a genuinely good album.
Mm-hmm. But I think like there's one album that it's called "I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside" by Earl Sweatshirt, and like it's such a weird album to listen to because like the album name is literally called "I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside."
Yeah.
And then it's literally like the album cover is like literally just the words "I don't like shit, I don't go outside." And then on the album, that's literally what he was talking about. He just doesn't. He was like really like depressed over a lot of things. Like when he was younger, he got sent off to a camp, like smoke because he was like misbehaving, and it, like you know he talked about he had like a weed problem. He talked about how he misses his father, how he he's having problems with his like relationship problems, and it was like but it was almost like masked by the good music almost. Like you started talking about all this stuff, but like the music sounds good, so like
it's like
kind of like
yeah, it's like the music or like the lyrics versus sound thing.
Yeah.
Like some songs sound great, and then you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
like what is this guy talking about? But yeah, just overall, I think music can shape a person as they grow up. That's why we change what we listen to as we go through life. My music taste is different from what it was 5 years ago. I'm sure yours is too, because we see our palate grows as we grow up ourselves. Just two more things before we end the episode. So Young Thug said some stuff today. I believe he said he doesn't pay attention to Andre 3000 or whatever on the TI podcast. Okay, Young Thug, like I can see the disrespect there, because like first of all, you ain't need to say that, Young Thug. Second of all, most people think Andre 3000 is better than you, and like Andre 3000 is like goated in the industry. Young Thug isn't there yet, and and
well, he's up there, but in terms of Andre 3000,
Andre 3000 is just like Andre 3000, right?
Yeah.
Andre, I was reading the replies to the article, and a couple of them were like, first of all, there was a quote saying Young Thug, like Andre 3000 was speaking on Young Thug in 2017, and he said, "I really like Young Thug," and he was like, Andre 3000 was saying like, it's cool that he kind of just expresses himself the way he wants, like he messes with that, and then also many like people that are into hip hop way more than we are and know more about like Andre 3000 say that he's literally never had a bad verse, and which is pretty interesting. I mean, I
Pretty
wouldn't
crazy.
know. I wouldn't know. I haven't listened to all this stuff, but if a lot of people are saying it, it's hard to disagree. But yeah, I don't understand why Young Thug is saying this. Really disrespecting him for no reason. And for me personally, I'm like it kind of makes me change how I perceived Young Thug as a person. Um, not that much, but I'm not like talking about how Young Thug has to be this great guy. Like it's fucking Young Thug, bro.
Yeah,
But
I think
it's like, bro, I don't see the
yeah.
like, Young Thug doesn't need this. Nor does Andre 3000. They both don't need this. I'm sure nothing will come of this. But yeah.
In back in like the summer, it was like summer months. Vince Staples had went on Twitter and basically were asking a bunch of questions about music, whatever, and he said he's never listened. People were asking like what music he grew up listening to, and he said he's he ended up saying how he never listened to a Jay-Z album. I think when he was younger. I could be. I think I'm paraphrasing it, but something along the lines of that. Like he didn't grow up listening to Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up listening to like other artists from like because he was from LA, and obviously Jay-Z's a big rapper from New York, and people were like so mad. People were upset about that, saying, "Oh wow, you've never listened to Jay-Z. Like this is like," and he was getting upset, started trying to troll people at that point. But that's just not what he grew up on. Like it's different. Like for us, obviously everyone. I think Drake would be a bad example because of how popular it is across the world. But someone along the lines of like, I think the Weeknd be a better example, maybe.
They're like equal, because, bro. Because they're equally big.
That's true. That's true.
With Toronto, I feel like in today's industry, because when you're younger, you're really only getting the influence from, I guess, close around. I don't even know how that would work really, but in the music industry today, everyone knows everything about everyone. So
yeah,
it's hard to be
with technology and stuff.
It's hard to be like only held down to the people that are making music within where you live. I think anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know why Young Thug is saying that. And then last thing I wanted to touch on was how do you think COVID has affected the music industry now? Answer this in the comments, people that are watching, or in the replies. And Malka, I'm curious as to what you think.
Well, I mean, we've sort of like touched on this a lot. Like COVID is. It's still bad. It's not getting any better. Until we get a vaccine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of artists, it is a good and bad when it comes to how it's affecting the music industry because like we've said, we got some compared to 2019, we got some phenomenal albums this year. Phenomenal, like.
Mm-hmm.
but then 2019 was pretty bland for music. You ask me.
Really. I think so too. In terms of rap and hip hop, there was like 3 albums maybe. I can name like 10 off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, but the problem is, a lot of artists had to push back release dates. Everyone was expecting a Kendrick album at some point this year. I don't think we're gonna get it this year.
Nah.
Drake's album definitely would have. I 100% would have dropped this year if it wasn't for COVID. 100%.
Drake pushed this thing to January.
Yeah, I 100% would have dropped this year if it was for COVID. But I think they're missing out on a lot of money, and it sucks for artists that aren't as big because they can't tour and make
make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Because
I think.
Yeah. I think it's also because sometimes small artists open for these larger artists, and that's what helps them gain a little bit more of a fandom.
Like you would have had the festival that Tyler the Creator has like I think every year, every other year.
Yeah.
It was like back in November he had that, and I think when they booed Drake off stage.
Oh my god.
Yeah, when they booed Drake off stage. I mean, like not being able to tour, not being able to almost like market smaller artists and put them on. It affects it affects artists and the money too.
Not only that, for some artists, performing is a part of their persona. Like Travis Scott, performing is one of like his biggest personas. The biggest part of his like how he acts and how.
I mean, he found a few loopholes this year. I mean, the Fortnite concert.
Yeah, I guess so. But he also does Astrofest he also does Astrofest where he brings on a lot of artists, which is cool. But yeah, I think COVID has brought us both bad and good in terms of the music industry. We've gotten a lot of music this year because what the fuck else are they gonna do? But yeah,
exactly.
I'm curious as to what you guys think in the comments. But other than that, we covered everything. Last thing, we are going to make an official Microphone Club playlist. Where you can see what we're listening to, the artists we like. You should know our taste by now, but maybe there'll be some artists you haven't heard or songs you haven't heard. So that'll be in the link in the description of the podcast. It'll be on Spotify because we both use Spotify. But yeah, give it a listen if you ever have time. Let us know how you like it in the comments.
Yeah, we're gonna try to upload it like maybe weekly and sort of just mix in artists, old artists, new upcoming artists.
Every episode there'll be more songs. So.
Yeah.
That'll be in the link in the description. So yeah. Hopefully we'll be back. We record these Friday nights, so they should be out every Saturday. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be back next week if everything goes properly. And thank you all for tuning in.
All right. Thank you.